Hello everyone, it's Melinda. Today we're going to be looking at something that I am so excited to talk about and so excited to show you. I've been holding off because I was waiting for a new acquisition that I had ordered, so now I am very pumped to present my collection of amethyst, and I have quite a nice little variety going on here, and even some others that will get their own video later down the line. But oh goodness, I just love this charming purple crystal, this member of the quartz family. Oh my gosh, is it ever gorgeous. And like I said, it can be so varied and have so many different inclusions. I can't wait to delve into this with you. It is a beloved mineral, a favorite of many people, so I think it's high time. Let's get into it. I'm going to start with this little guy, just because the next one is going to be probably one of my most aesthetic pieces for sure. So I'll give this little guy cat hair as usual. Give this little guy a show off to start, and then we'll get into the nice big one. Absolutely love the details on the base of this tiny little specimen. Green and banded, so beautiful. Isn't that something? That color, I tell ya. All right, here we go. This is one of my very first crystal specimens that I purchased. It was so affordable. Oh my goodness. I think it was like, I don't know, 15-20 bucks. And it's a really nice, it sits beautifully, gorgeous crystals in there, and they're all just absolutely perfect. None of the points are broken, just on the sides a bit, but oh my god, absolutely gorgeous. And I love the contrast of the purple crystals against this bright green and even little bits of blue in the base. It's absolutely stunning. It's still one of my very favorite pieces. Gorgeous. And if I believe correctly, because this was a little while ago, I believe I got this one from Sacred Gemstones. Oh, it's just so gorgeous. Absolutely stunning. Okay, so let's delve in, and I'll just give you a little bit of a tour of this beauty. So, as I've been saying, amethyst is a violet or purple variety of quartz. So very much quartz, just with a purple or violet color. It is composed of silicon dioxide. Oh, so stunning. So the name amethyst comes from the Koine Greek amethystos, meaning intoxicate. It's a reference to the belief that the stone protected its owner from drunkenness. Hilarious! The ancient Greeks wore amethyst and carved drinking vessels from it in the belief that it would prevent intoxication. I just love little historical tidbits like that. Kills me. Isn't that gorgeous? Just love it so much. There we have it. And I think next I'll show you some little amethyst points. They make gorgeous points. Amethyst, oh my god, it grows into perfect gorgeous points. This one's nice and dark. Beautiful. This one was sent to me as a gift, and you can probably guess why. I still absolutely love it, but you can tell that the purple part of the point, the tip of the point, was cut off, probably to use, for a piece of jewelry, maybe a cab, who knows. But it's still amethyst. I still love it. I don't mind that it's been sliced. Still a gorgeous, root of a point of amethyst. I love it. You can see the textures of quartz. A nice telltale sign are those shining like striations that you can see in the crystal faces there. Absolutely stunning. And that's not how it broke. That's absolutely how it grows. So stunning. There we go. And this point still intact. But very much similar to the last one, just, you know, natural without having been sliced. So amethyst is a semi-precious stone often used in jewelry and is the traditional birthstone of February. Again, you can see that structure, that quartz structure, which I just love. I cannot get enough of that. Those beautiful lines. That's how you can, one of the ways that you can tell a point is natural and hasn't been, you know, cut, shaped, and polished, which is very, very, very common on the market to see, you know, the cut ones, which I still love and collect. I love them very much. But still, you know, it's nice to have some little clues to know exactly what you have. Oh, just stunning. There we go. So beautiful. If you can hear Maverick, my Kit Kat, snoring behind me, apologies. He's having a nap right behind me. So amethyst owes its violet color to irradiation, as well as impurities of iron, and in some cases other types of metals, as well as the presence of other trace elements, which result in complex crystal lattice substitutions. So changing that chemistry of the crystal and giving it that purple color. So irradiation is key, but there would have already had to have been impurities within the quartz for this purple to show up, because pure quartz is clear. It doesn't have any impurities to be irradiated inside of it. So the stem, no impurities, no impurities. Oh, here are some impurities. They were irradiated, they turned purple. Maybe a little less here as it's more quartzy and then it gets more purple. I just find that process absolutely fascinating. And I think amethyst is something that people very often have in their collection, but I don't know if everyone is aware of how it gets that color. It's fascinating. Oh, I just absolutely love it. All right. So Chevron Amethyst is something that you'll see marketed sometimes more so in the metaphysical world as, you know, a rare, different form of amethyst, you know, and it certainly does have its, you know, its aesthetic qualities. It's certainly a little bit different, something fun to have in the collection, but it is no different than any other amethyst. Often in the metaphysical world, they'll say, you know, it's amethyst that has turned into quartz that, you know, turns back into amethyst and turns to quartz. And while that is basically true, they fail to, you know, discuss the fact that amethyst itself is quartz. They kind of sometimes, and of course I shouldn't generalize at all, but in some cases, amethyst is sort of, I guess, sold as like its own unique mineral, again, which it kind of is in a sense, but failing to mention that it's very much quartz. I don't know, I think maybe gives people the idea that it's very, very rare, and sometimes that's reflected in a price tag, and I just don't know if that's necessarily fair. But I mean, would I pay a little bit more to have a beautiful aesthetic specimen like this to add to my collection? Certainly, absolutely. But it's just nice to know the facts, you know? So Chevron Amethyst, sometimes it is known as dogtooth amethyst, which I find a little strange. And it's the name given to naturally occurring amethyst and white quartz in a banded V pattern, as you can see here in this one. So like I said, in reality, the entire specimen, amethyst and all, is quartz, because amethyst is quartz, right? But the layering occurs when the level of different impurities varied as the crystal forms. Just like I showed you in the other one with the root, like, oh, how it was quartz, and then there were more impurities, the irradiation occurred, and so that purple takes place. It's this very same thing in Chevron Amethyst. The same concept. So while this is marketed as more of like a rare, special kind of thing, it's actually, you know, pretty darn common. So I have one of my pieces from Thunder Bay, Ontario, that's still raw, and I thought I would show you just how, you know, kind of easily this happens. So there's some chevron happening here. As you can see, there's a little bit of a different color going on there. We can see these lines going through here. Here's some there. You know, if this was cut and polished in a certain way, it would certainly, you know, could certainly be considered chevron amethyst. And it's quite common, even in some of my other little ones, and I'll point them out as I go. Certainly neat, definitely, you know, something cool to have in your collection, but it is just neat to know all the facts. Alright, so next up, I'd love to look at my little spirit amethyst specimens, and again, that's, you know, more of a metaphysical nickname given to these specimens. Gosh, they're beautiful. So neat. Oh, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Oh, I just love it. Okay, so spirit amethyst is sometimes also called cactus amethyst. I'm getting all tongue-tied now. There's so many names coming up. Barnacle amethyst, pineapple amethyst, or porcupine amethyst. Oh, that's a mouthful. So many nicknames. So it's a name indicating an amethyst specimen consists of a single crystal that terminates in a faceted point. That would be this nice big beauty here. And it is surrounded by many similarly shaped but smaller crystals. As we can see, all these teeny tiny little terminated points all around it. So those nicknames are usually reserved for this type of amethyst formation. Oh, it's so pretty. Oh, I love it. And here we have two. They're so cute. I got this little beauty for I think like $1 or $2. Just love it. This one was collected. It's obviously not a full spirit amethyst specimen. It doesn't have the point, but you can certainly see that it was most likely a part of one before it was broken. Nice little red dot of hematite in there. This one would be from Thunder Bay here in Ontario. Awesome. Okay. So another type of amethyst that we see often on the market these days is gray amethyst. And it is obviously still purple, but it's just leaning more towards a grayer look, a gray-purple mixture. So pretty. You can see the, I guess, chalcedony down here is a little more on the grayer side as well. That's usually a sign of this type of gray amethyst. So it is still basic amethyst with a slight difference in its chemical makeup. Some locations attribute the grayish purple color to a higher saturation of joeithite inclusions. And it's also noted that most of these gray specimens tend to have shorter, like short, stout, fatter crystals rather than the nice, long, pointy ones that we find here, especially in Thunder Bay. beautiful. And I have a few of these. Gorgeous. Oh, so beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. I love this one because it's almost like a sphere covered in it. Covered in this gorgeous gray amethyst. Oh, I love it. And again, you can see that gray chalcedony. Oh, absolutely beautiful. I find these really interesting. You can even see a little bit of banding. So it could possibly get away with saying agate, although not very translucent. Beautiful. Just stunning. And really different and neat. Okay, next up is a very recently found mineral that has caused such a stir in the mineral world. So much debate, so much frustration and anger. I couldn't help myself. I absolutely had to get one. And here it is. Pink Amethyst from Argentina. Oh my goodness, do people ever get mad about this? I admit, when I first saw them, I was like, how is it possible to be amethyst if it's not really purple? But they truly are amethyst. Just more on the, you know, very light rosy, lavendery rose, I guess, kind of a color. Dusty rose. Yeah, dusty rose. Oof, I like that sound. Oh, they are just so gorgeous. I'm so glad I found one. They're not, you know, overly abundant in the market. You can certainly find them, but I always, you know, I don't buy just to buy. It has to, like, say to me, I'm coming home with you. Sorry, guys. I'm a bit of a crystal witch, even though I super love the geology part. I'm a bit whimsical as well. Oh, but my gosh, look at this. Okay, so let's get into the science of this one. So, like I said, it's a newly discovered form of quartz from Patagonia, Argentina. The color range is a pale lilac pink to a deeper toned peachy pink. However, it is different in tone and clarity from that of rose quartz. Okay, so a lot of people will argue until they're blue in the face that this can't possibly be considered amethyst. It is pink quartz, therefore it is rose quartz, and that is absolutely false in so many ways. So the color of pink amethyst from Argentina is the result of inclusions of hematite, very common to be found with amethyst, and spectroscopic analysis indicates that this form of quartz is closer in absorption to amethyst than to either rose quartz or pink quartz even, and can thus certainly be described as pink amethyst. A lot of people don't know that rose quartz is not pink due to iron inclusion or manganese inclusion. That was certainly the belief for hundreds and hundreds of years. But modern, day scientists collected rose quartz specimens from all over the world, and what they did was they actually dissolved the quartz. And what they found after the quartz had completely dissolved were these teeny tiny microscopic needles of pink dumortierite mineral. We're used to seeing dumortierite in quartz. Usually it's like a bright blue color. My gosh, I want one of those. I don't have one yet. But that's what we're, currently seeing on the market these days, and that's what we're familiar with. But actually rose quartz is pink because of these sparkly little pink needles of the mineral dumortierite. So that is not the case in these specimens. So these absolutely are not rose quartz. It's official. Like there's no arguing against that. Rose quartz is actually more unique than it appears. And these, I suppose, are pretty unique too, because, yeah, pink amethyst like this is, yeah, certainly a strange thing to find, and I'm very glad to have one in my collection. Plus, it's absolutely gorgeous, right? Who are we kidding? I can't say no to something that beautiful. I'm an obsessive collector. Alright. What should we look at next? Oh yes, I wanted to make sure I point out to those of you collecting amethyst that it can fade in tone if it's overexposed to light, so it can lose that purple color over time. So if you want to preserve that color, definitely don't, sit it in a sunny window or anything like that. And I'm not saying you have to put it in a dark room or anything, but just, just try not to expose it to sunlight too much. So now that I've said that, yeah, so I wanted to mention that amethyst is produced in abundance, very, very, very abundant, from the state of Minas Gerais in Brazil, where it occurs in large geos within volcanic rocks. So I'm assuming these two are probably from that location, although unfortunately I don't remember because it was so long ago that I bought that one. Amethyst is also relatively common in the Canadian provinces of Ontario and Nova Scotia. The largest amethyst mine in North America is actually located right here in Thunder Bay, Ontario, right here in Canada, and it is absolutely famous for its red amethyst. Red amethyst, absolutely. Some people will argue that these red-coated amethyst crystals are faked. But they are very, very common here in Ontario, particularly in the Thunder Bay area, and they are certainly not fake. In fact, they are amethyst coated with or included with hematite. And like I said, that's very common here, so if anyone has taught you that these, red amethyst crystals are fake, I mean, you can certainly make sure you're getting it from a credible source, but if you're confident in your seller, I have no doubt that they're lying to you, especially if you're buying from, Canadian mineral dealers. I mean, we're very, very familiar with this type of material. Okay, so that being said, speaking of, I'm going to show you, have a little light in case we need it, but I'll start without the light, a piece of red amethyst from Thunder Bay. And this one is not overly red. I'll show you a couple of redder ones later. But you can see the red even within the crystal, inside the crystal. See it? Oh, it's very clear here on the side. You can see the red. And let's see if a light does anything. I don't know. Oh, maybe. So we can really see inside that crystal. See? That is absolutely within the crystal. And it is not faked. It is the mineral hematite. Isn't that so cool? I have like a weird pride for our Thunder Bay amethyst, even though I've never even been there. I cannot wait to go, and I certainly will. But there's just, I don't know, it's like a weird Canadian pride, I guess, that we have these really cool, really abundant and beautiful red amethyst crystals. I love it so much that I will be doing a video dedicated just to red amethyst in the future. But I'll give you a quick flash of some redder specimens just so you can see what they can really look like, how red they can really be. Isn't that amazing? Oh, mind-blowing. So you can see it's just perfect amethyst coated with a nice red hematite layer. Oh, look at these little triangles. Oh, the structure of minerals just blows my mind. Oh, Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And here's another one. And we're going to have a quicker, or sorry, closer look at these in my red amethyst. My red amethyst video that will be coming up in the future. Alright, so since we're talking about Thunder Bay, I'll show you some of my rougher little pieces that I was able to collect in a rock farm, Princess Sodalite rock farm. Because I have not yet been to Thunder Bay, but oh my gosh, I can't wait to go someday. I imagine it's heaven. Nice iron oxides going on there. I love iron oxides. I know people use all sorts of methods of getting them off their crystals, but I love them and I leave them. Again, you can see that chevron going on. Gorgeous. Little lighter pieces. Even these little pieces have some little chevrons going on at the tips. There we go. Beautiful. Gorgeous. This little one. I love those lines on quartz. I just can't get enough of that texture. So beautiful. Alright, and this piece I'm assuming is from Thunder Bay, although I cannot be certain. The person who sold it to me sold it as a chunk of fluorite. And at the time I was too new, and I just thought, okay, sure, and purchased it. I would have purchased it even if I knew it was amethyst, but I just find that so funny. That happens, you know, every once in a while. And then you learn, and then you realize, hey, that's not what this is. So how can I tell this is not fluorite? There's certainly purple fluorite, right? Purple fluorite is abundant in Ontario, you know, just like amethyst is. How do I know? Well, to me, the first telltale sign is that it grows into this point, a perfect point with many sides. And fluorite is notorious for being cubic. They can certainly grow cubically into a point, but not like this, with so many sides like this. This is clearly an amethyst point. Also, there's that texture of the quartz that I keep talking about, that lined, etched texture on these natural faces. And again, that's, you know, an indication of quartz rather than fluorite. So I'm pretty confident it's not fluorite. And if it's local like she believed, then I would assume it's from Thunder Bay area. It's a beauty. I love it. I would have purchased it either way. Yeah, it's just cool when you learn more and realize, hey, Everneat, that's not what that is. I actually find that really enjoyable. Alright. Oh man, it's been so fun so far. I hope you're still enjoying it. Alright, the next one is Cacoxanite Amethyst, and I only have a little tumblestone of it. It's not something you see often, being sold as often these days. So the cacoxanite part are the little fluffy orange fibers on the inside of the quartz, and in this case amethyst, as it's purple. There we go. Isn't that beautiful? So cacoxanite is usually found as gold or brown acicular needle inclusions in quartz or in amethyst. It is an iron aluminum phosphate mineral and is associated with iron ores, and it occurs as a secondary phase in oxidized magnetite and limonite deposits. So other nicknames are Super 7, Melody Stone, and Sacred 7 when amethysts include this cacoxanite mineral. These are metaphysical names that imply all 7 minerals: amethyst, clear quartz, smoky quartz, cacoxanite, rutile, geothite, which is incorrect and is said notoriously it's joethite, and lepidocrosite. Apparently all of these are included in one specimen when they call it Super 7, and this is often not the case. It's kind of like an advertising ploy in a sense. I don't know, I suppose it's possible that some of these crystals exist in the world. I don't want to say that they're all fake or anything like that, but I would say, based on my research, more often than not, they don't include all 7 of those minerals. And also, saying that amethyst includes quartz is kind of silly because it is quartz. You know how we went through that? Yeah, so that, I don't know, it's just kind of an interesting marketing thing, I think. Which again, like, I love those types of things. I would have one just to say that I have one, just to collect them. And I'm certainly not against metaphysical names. I love metaphysical names as well as the, real mineral names. But it does suck a little bit when they claim there's a lot of things included in something and there, just isn't. So on top of it, not necessarily always having those 7 different minerals, most experts now claim that the gold inclusions that were being sold as cacoxanite, like this, are actually not cacoxanite, but rather joethite. And joethite is a little bit more common than cacoxanite, so it's a little bit of a bummer again. But, again, like, it was sold to me as this, I'll keep it labeled as such and just know the reality of the situation, and I'll still love it. It definitely does not prevent me from still loving my specimens very, very much. But yeah, that's the interesting facts of cacoxanite and amethyst, or Super 7 amethyst. Yeah, oh my goodness, there's so much to talk about. Okay, so along the same lines as that cacoxanite and amethyst, there is Oralite 23. And when I was a, new collector, I was sort of a little bit more on the metaphysical side of it. I'm sick, so it brought me and still brings me comfort, and that's why I was drawn to it. And Oralite 23 just seemed absolutely wicked, amazing. It had so many different inclusions, and it's, it's Canadian, and I just absolutely had to have one, and I do not regret my decision. I love my specimens so, so much. But there's a bit of a story when it comes to Oralite 23, and I'll show you my specimen as we talk about it. Oh goodness, it's so, so, so beautiful. I love it so much. Oh, I love it. Okay, so Oralite 23 is a Canadian Thunder Bay amethyst that comes from one mine only, the Oralite 23 mine. So, now that that's become kind of like a very popular spiritual name for these crystals, unfortunately, other people are picking up that name and using it for, their own types of amethysts with similar inclusions. So, it's really important that if you do want to collect one of these specimens, please buy it from, that particular mine. He has an online shop, and, if you want to support that business, then, that's the way I would go about it personally, because, he was the first guy to discover this sort of phenomenon, his amethyst, and Well, let's just get into it. Let's get into it, Melinda. Okay. So the prospector and businessman who discovered this gem is often ridiculed for coining a more metaphysical type of name for his unique specimens of amethyst. He decided to cater to that community, and there are some people in the mineral world who really hate that community so much, which breaks my heart because I think you can love both. I really, really do, because I do. I absolutely do, and I have so many friends who do too, so it's just such a bummer when people rain on that. Although I certainly understand the need for, you know, certain rules and certain groups and all of that. But my goodness, they really, really, really are upset with this gentleman. If you look through the forums, unfortunately. So like most of the Northern Ontario amethyst found deep in the boreal forest, it contains a wide variety of inclusions. As you've probably guessed, Oralite 23 is said to contain 23 different inclusions. According to the website, there are 23 minerals in the specimen, or at least 17. So we'll get into that. The types of minerals that he claims are included in these specimens are titanite, which is interesting, cacoxenite, lepidocrosite, azoite, hematite, magnetite, pyrite, joethite, pyrolusite, gold, silver, platinum, nickel, copper, iron, limonite, sphalerite, which is interesting, cobalite, chalcopyrite, galalite, epidote, braunite, and rutile. Wow, that is a lot of different things. That is a very, very grand claim. And when you're new to collecting minerals, especially if you're leaning more towards the metaphysical side like I was, you're just reading that and being blown away by the so many minerals that are included in this amethyst and all the energies that that could provide, right? So the website claims that each specimen from the mine contains at least 17 of these, of that list of minerals. But most mineral enthusiasts find that extremely hard to believe. This stone is extremely debated in the mineral world, like, oh, so much. So this specimen was tested and had high levels of copper, chromium, and nickel, and that was included with possible other mineral inclusions. So some people have tested, and it certainly does have a variety of things inside of it, maybe not so many, guaranteed into each specimen. I don't know. I'm kind of in the middle, because I still love it, and whatever. If it brings me joy, I'm happy to have it in my collection. I'm not as serious as some. Yeah, I just love it all the same, and you know what? I kind of dig the controversy and all of it, the whole story. I'm still glad to have it in my collection. The mineral world is so entertaining sometimes. Alright, so lastly, we're going to look at my very exciting new rare acquisition, a Trapeachy Amethyst Slice, and it's very, very tiny, because like I said, they're rare and a little bit pricey because of that. This one was purchased from Sonatona Gemstones. I absolutely love buying through them because they have a lot of rare things, and because they're just small little cabochons, they're quite affordable. So if you're a really obsessive collector like me, and you want to have a variety of different things that maybe you wouldn't be able to purchase in large size, it's a fantastic place for that. And they're so kind and helpful, and I love them. In this piece, I'm just so happy to have it. It's so gorgeous and so neat. Isn't that unique? Okay, so let's get into it. So Trapeachy, or Trapeachy, is a type of milling wheel used to process cane sugar. This gemstone was named after it because of the similarity of appearance between the spokes of the mill and the growth pattern of the gemstone inclusions. So it's really difficult to see in this one. I'll get my little light a little later. But where the amethyst kind of points in, there are different levels of purple, making it look kind of like a wheel. So true trapezies form where geothermal waters meet a carbonaceous host rock. During mineral growth, the gem ceases to grow along the rough edges of the crystal. Instead, it grows only on the smooth faces. This leads to the gemstone growing in sectors independently from one another and allows a second mineral inclusion to form within the gaps, thus forming the unique trapeze pattern. Since the geological conditions necessary to create trapeze gems are uncommon, trapeze gems are some of the rarest specimens on Earth. Trapeze gems are immensely rare and are most often found in emeralds. However, trapeze growth patterns may also be found in ruby, sapphire, tourmaline, garnet, quartz, and aquamarine. And of course, amethyst is quartz, as we've been learning. So yeah, I'm so happy to have this one. I'll get my little light, see if it does much. Yeah, can you see that clear line here? Where the purple ends? I'll turn it. See? Oh my gosh, it's so cool. It is really hard to see, but oh my gosh, it's so neat. I'm so glad to have this piece. I don't know if they had any more, but they're so kind. They're certainly worth asking. Oh, I just love it. Really neat. Yeah, I'm very glad to have this piece in my collection, even though it's just tiny. That doesn't bother me one bit. There we go. All right. So getting back into the history of amethyst, in the 19th century, so the 1800s, the color of the amethyst was attributed to the presence of manganese. However, since it can be greatly altered and even discharged by heat, the color was believed by some authorities to be from an organic source. Ferric thiocyanate, has been suggested, and sulfur was said to have been detected in the mineral. But obviously, as we know now, it is due to iron impurities that have been irradiated. Really, really neat. So synthetic or laboratory-grown amethyst is produced by a synthesis method called hydrothermal growth, which grows the crystals inside a high-pressure autoclave. Its chemical and physical properties are the same as that of natural amethyst, and it can't be differentiated without absolute certainty without advanced testing. So they've really learned how to make really, really impressive natural looking amethyst synthetically. So it's just nice to, make sure you really trust your source, and yeah, I don't know. I'm not too concerned because amethyst is, quite plentiful, especially in my country, so definitely confident that all of my specimens are real, but again, there are certain outlets that I would definitely not buy crystals from. Like Wish is notorious for selling fakes. I tried at the beginning of my collection, and oh gosh, got so much plastic. Oh, it was awful. So up until the 18th century, so again, this would be the 1700s, amethyst was included in the cardinal or most valuable gemstones along with diamonds, sapphire, ruby, and emerald. So they were, worth, valued similarly to these stones that we, now prize and are very expensive. However, since the discovery of extensive deposits in locations such as Brazil, and even, the large deposits we have here in Ontario, it has lost most of its value. So it's certainly not prized in the same way as, emeralds and rubies and diamonds and sapphires, not even, remotely. You can buy specimens like these They're quite affordable. The little rarer things, a little bit more expensive, but generally amethyst is very affordable and so beautiful and interesting and lovely to add to your collection. Yeah, so if you already do have some amethyst, I hope this gave you a little bit of insight into it. Yeah, it was quite a long video. Thank you so much, guys, for sticking with it, and I hope you found it interesting. I sure did. Thanks so much, guys. See you next time.